hit me 6 times.
Thanks for joining us for the Lents Neighborhood Livability Association, our November meeting. A couple of short announcements. The weekly West Rock cleanup will be Sunday because we're doing neighbor to neighbor with the church group here Saturday. And until it gets too dark, we'll be doing the cleanup starting at 8 o'clock at West Rock. And always check our website because sometimes there are weather delays. And Sunday, November 20th is the VFW breakfast, of which we kind of hold an informal meeting there to support them. Just a chance to get together and visit with the group. And we'll start off our first guest speakers are from the Portland Police Bureau. It's all yours.
So hello, I'm Sergeant Craig Anderson, and this is Officer Jordan Zaitz. We're from the East Neighborhood Response Team. So we work out of East Precinct. I think some of you are familiar faces. We've come to some of the meetings on and off throughout the past. Today, the Police Bureau still struggles with staffing. I'm sure you're all aware of that. They are hiring. The unfortunate reality to that is it takes 18 months to create a fully fledged police officer by the time they go through their training process and academy and all that stuff. And there's been a struggle with a bottleneck at the state level because they have to attend the state academy, and so I know that's been kind of slowing the process down as well. I know typically a lot of the questions surround homelessness. And I don't know where you guys are with that or your knowledge level anymore. Or I noticed the RVs are not here.
Yes.
Yes, it's very nice. Yes.
And hopefully it'll stay that way for a
Other than the
while.
car was being stripped.
Yes, we saw that one.
Yeah, nice parts car down there.
A parts car.
And if they return, like the car being stripped, just please continue to report it to the one point of contact in PBOT and the appropriate bureaus for those issues. Because as you know, the city's created those entities to deal with that stuff. The police will help with it, but it's not necessarily our function. They also created a thing called the SSCC, which is the Street Services Coordination Center, and it's kind of like the overseeing body of everything surrounding the homelessness. And I can attest it has helped the communication between the bureaus and the cleanup crews and police and everybody.
How do you get a hold of that?
Yeah.
You don't.
You don't.
Well, thank you, Jordan.
We do, though.
Essentially, it's the one point of contact. The person that operates the one point of contact operates that. It's not the lead.
What is that?
SSCC, Street Services Coordination Center.
Is that the one through the mayor's office? Was that started with his office there?
Yeah, when he declared the emergency declaration for the homelessness several months back.
Right.
This was the response to it. And as far as that goes, does anybody have any questions related to anything?
Who's in charge of the one point of contact? Is that Corinne or?
Lucas Hiller.
Oh.
And Corinne is one of the individuals up there.
She works under him
Yeah.
with Sharon.
I don't know who's coming and cleaning, but I like it. I don't know if it's rapid, if it's...
It's mostly rapid and some Central City concerns.
Yeah, and there was carpets, there's all kinds of stuff down there recently. Now it's nice and clean.
Do you think things are going to improve in the city with the mayor's new plan and possibly a new council member? Do you think things are going to improve quicker?
I am hopeful that it will, but the only thing that's going to tell us time, right?
So there's still this year than we were last.
Yeah.
You know?
So there's still some pockets that are resistant, even though they've been reported over and over and over. Is there any other suggested way of getting someone to respond in those areas?
As far as, so home, like a homeless pocket, RVs, tents,
Yeah,
garbage.
they're resistant to moving at all.
Okay. So even when the city entities
Yes.
respond, they still don't end up gone?
No.
Okay. Stuff like that, maybe, I know Shar has like my email to me, because then I can put pressure on from my side too, that if this is like, because sometimes they'll clean a camp and it may seem like it was dealt with, but it just pops right back up.
No, there's structure, there's wooden structures.
There's wooden
Do not
structures.
leave.
Where,
They don't
like
leave.
where it's up.
Down at the cul-de-sac still?
There's still
Yeah.
cul-de-sac is still, there's open fires, there's
Okay.
they have never once cleaned that out.
Completely, got a clean start.
Yeah,
Okay.
people stay there and they're resistant to leaving. They're camped along the Max on the Flavel platform. They're,
Oh, okay, I know exactly where you're speaking.
yeah, and they will not leave. They've
Yeah.
been there forever and they just will not leave.
And believe it or not, they will clean it and move them, and they'll be right back like next day. So
Well, my question is-
nobody would know the difference, right?
There's no accountability essentially for what happens after it's done. So that's the part we need to find and something different to make it work, because that is the struggle, is that some of those people that are so just in that area, they'll leave for a day, not even a day, sometimes they're back that night, and we only have so
So we're
much.
just cleaning up after them.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
basically what we're
Oh yeah,
doing.
oh yeah, that's,
So we're cleaning up after them and they're allowed to stay, is what,
it's not that they're allowed to, it's just that we've moved on to the next one already, and so to have the resources to go back to handle that one again.
well, it's left up to people in the community otherwise to
Right.
kind of
Well-
become so engaged in it that we're constantly doing the work to
So
get and there's no accountability on the
And-
city's side.
Right, there's another group that we've kind of helped grow, at like 122 in Burnside. It's all the surrounding businesses. There's a couple of people that are heading it, and they have done a phenomenal job. They are just as tenacious as you guys are, very organized, and they have like the berms on Burnside from 122 to 127. It took a long time. They finally got them all cleaned, and they have patrols three times a day that go out and pick up all the garbage. Don't let anybody land there. They've gotten good at smooth talking people and getting them to move along. I mean, like this whole group, and I mean, it's now stretched like south of Stark up to Halsey.
So it's the community that's having to do it.
Oh yeah, but that's kind
So,
of, but
that's
then
what
at the
I'm
same
saying.
point, but that's kind of where we're so short, we need you guys. And it kind of is like, it's a two-way street, and like I'm not more willing, that's not, but like to help them, it's easier because I know that they're gonna help me, like we help each other out, right? I don't have the time to just sit and do that all day long. I've got, we've got 44 miles and we've got problems all over. And we wanna help everybody, but we gotta do it together. I mean, it's gotten to the point where we can't do it alone, and so we count on you guys. We support them, they support us, and that's kind of the same with you guys. And you guys have a big enough group, you guys have a good following, and that's kind of where you guys gotta be organized too, in helping those. So maybe once an area gets picked up, you guys have patrols where 3 times a day, I mean, even that's what they figured out worked. But it's been
It
clean.
puts a lot of pressure
Oh, I
on
get that.
people
I get
that don't have the ability to deal with people that are high.
No, I totally
that
get
are
that.
drunk,
No, I
that
get
are
it.
like out of their mind.
So far,
We're
they-
putting
yeah.
ourselves at risk
No, I get
to
that.
do that job, and that's what's frustrating me.
Right.
We're older people, we don't have the ability to go out, multiple times a day to keep people off of, we can report
Well,
it.
not just that, Juanita, you don't live across the street from this, so who takes responsibility for that station you're talking about? You live blocks away.
I live blocks away, but they're coming back again.
Oh, I know.
And it's like I appreciate, I'm not
Right, no, I get
upset
that.
you guys.
I get that.
It's just like, it's a never-ending struggle for
Yes, we
this
feel the exact same
community.
way. Like we drive by, we're excited because an area is finally clean, and we drive by and we're like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And it's literally, it's whack-a-mole, right? We just clean up here, they pop up here, clean up here, they pop
So
up
my
here.
question is, what I'm frustrated about is there is no accountability when we move these people it's just a never-ending game.
Right.
And that's what I'm upset about.
Yeah, and until the city comes up with a long-term, like, honestly, the biggest thing we need is rehabilitation. I mean,
Yeah.
none of these people,
But there's no enforcement for these people to get caught.
no,
So we just clean up after
Yep.
them and let them stay and
yes,
just let them be a part of our
Yes.
community and accept that.
yes. We'll not accept it, but I mean, but it is, yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
and it's ridiculous. We
Yeah.
get it too. I mean, like, it's just as frustrating for us.
So what you get out in this area more than a lot of other areas, and I mean, this is just coming from me, not from anything else, but it makes you feel like that there are gonna be, and I've heard this in the community, vigilante type activities that will take place to move these people along, because people are frustrated with the non-response, and it's unfortunate because it's hard on you guys, it's hard on us, and the enforcement part, if there's anything that we could do to get that in place, that's what we need.
And this is where you gotta talk to city council. I mean, this is where they, again, now you have a chance with New Year's, you got a fresh set of beers right now, in there, and this is where you guys need to explain that to them, and we can say it till we're blue in the face, but they need to hear it from you guys, and I know you've been saying it for years, but you just can't give up. I mean, eventually something has to change, and we're hopeful that we'll get that direction.
I'm close to giving up, so I'm just.
And I can't blame you.
I'm just.
I don't blame you, but
If you can
don't.
Anything, yeah, I work well.
I mean, literally, especially because I don't live here, right? I don't live in the city, so I don't have, I mean, city council, they're not gonna listen to us.
Well, you do that job, so I would hope, that's why I'm saying this to you.
Right.
Because if you get an opportunity.
Okay.
This is seriously where a lot of people are frustrated, I've been in this community 21 years.
It's changed. I've been a cop out here for 19, and I've seen the huge shit. I mean, I know what it used to be when we used to have, I mean, to find a homeless camp, you had to go like dig to find it. You couldn't just, it wasn't as brazen. I mean, you never dare just have a camp, and I mean, drinking in public, like now it's like, that's now they're smoking fentanyl in public. Back
I
then,
wish
you
we
would've
were
got-
just drinking.
yeah, right? I mean, we would have written tickets for drinking in public, and now that's like almost a joke. You know what I mean? It's crazy how.
At least they're only drinking, yeah.
Right, yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and it's unfortunate, because a lot of times it looks like we're the fall guy, like we're the ones who should be handling it, and it's our job. And even our hands are tied to a certain extent, and,
Well, we appreciate the work you're doing. I don't mean to sound frustrated personally.
I get
Because
it.
the reality of it is who shows up to talk to you?
Yeah, there you go.
Who ultimately ends up, you end up
And we
calling when
appreciate
it
you
comes
being
down
here.
to.
Oh, yeah.
To hear.
So we understand. I mean, we end up being the face of the city. So that's okay.
Down by the bus stop, and then there's all that stuff is kept there and over a tarp that belongs to the homeless on the other side of the freeway. It's underneath the freeway, so all their stuff, so
Oh, they're
why,
storing it.
they're stored on the sidewalk.
I saw it.
You know, it's been there forever, and report the fires, that I know they have to keep warm, but the fires
Well,
there.
the hard part is there's fires everywhere.
Yeah.
And the camps are kind of, they're ranked, right, by like how big they are, how much garbage there is,
Right.
how dangerous they are. I mean, they can only do so much, right? So they end up ranking them, and so it's sad, because we see ones that we're like, this is a bad camp, it needs to be cleaned. They're like, sorry, that only scored a 73, and we're only cleaning up camps that are 85 and above. And so that's, the cleaning crews aren't even able to keep enough people on staff to be able to have, and when I started 5 years ago, we had 3 crews, and we're up to 18, and they're working everywhere that they can.
So now there's a car that's parked over on the Johnson Creek side by
I
the
saw.
homeless.
On the
North
south side?
Yes.
The south side or north? The south side, I saw a car today that had like a emblem on the,
I don't know, it's a red car. It's
Like
on the
a-
north side of Flavel.
okay,
And there's a camp right there. And that's who has all the stuff that's being stored on the sidewalk over by the Trimont bus stop. But yeah, now there's a car there, and I'm just thinking, all the oil, and maybe going into Johnson Creek, I don't know. But There's
That's not as bad as some of the other stuff going in.
Well, this is true.
They've got a manhole open over there, and Lord knows what goes into the creek from there.
And I know one of the city actions is that they're trying to establish a safe rest villages. There's going to be one on 122 in Burnside where the Max parking was right next to it. I'm not sure where else they're going to
Oh, that
establish
parking lot
this.
there in
Oh, we've
Burnside.
got one on Reedway coming in.
And that I know that's part of their solution. The idea is if you give people a place to go, then maybe they won't stay on the street. I mean, we'll see how that plays out, but that's where that's all leading.
Well,
They don't restrict how much stuff they can bring with them, it's gonna be a nightmare.
Well, I think there are rules, and that will be a struggle, because a lot of people out here
Yeah.
don't want rules.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they're not in a shelter yet, that's why they haven't, and so getting them in, I mean, it's a step in the right direction, because at the very least, it'll help maybe reteach them how to kind of live in a civilized fashion again.
Unless you give them a closed set of options, which includes move or rehab. Rehab, jail, or move.
Yeah,
Unless they have that closed set of options, not please move,
right.
not, or,
Well, a lot of them, you know, we ask them nicely and then they just stay there, and we ask them
Yeah.
nicely again, they stay there, and they push it until the very last minute, and then you go and you're like, okay, it's time, and they're like, but it's not fair. Well, no,
Yeah.
it's fair now,
yeah,
because,
but you don't have that closed set of options in your tool
right,
chest.
no, we don't.
Now, we'll take you for 30 days, and you can make a decision during that time.
Do you have any indication when you might get that tool back?
Which one?
To give the three choices?
I
Oh
know.
gosh, yeah,
It's gonna.
that's all legislative. I mean, if you take into
Well, it's
consideration 2 grams or less of
Whatever.
narcotics is now more or less a violation.
And that's not, from what I've understood, that is not gonna change.
And there is no vagrancy.
And so, you know, so I mean, drugs are gonna continue to be legal. I know that, yeah, illegal-ish.
So, yeah, I was a co-chief petitioner, so I'll just throw myself under the bus, I don't write that measure. So I know addiction is not a crime,
Right,
but
there needs to be a
people that are
conflict.
living on the street are committing crimes.
Yep.
So, why aren't they going to jail? Because the criminal justice pathway, Measure 110 wasn't about those guys.
Right, and it was enacted before everything was finished, right? Because we don't have the resources to put them in rehab. I think the plan, the idea is fantastic. It was implemented way too soon, in my opinion.
I
and
don't
so,
argue with that.
and so that's the biggest issue. So I hope that with drugs staying the way they are, but I mean, I can tell you, the shift that I've seen since drugs were decriminalized, it makes me sad for the addicts. Honestly, there are way more of them. They're way more brazen. They're way more into their addiction.
That's across the nation.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, it's not just-
Agreed. Agreed. Right. And fentanyl has played a huge role in that. But at the same point, like watching, like I can drive around and I can easily find 10 people just sitting on the side of the road in broad daylight, just with their foil and their straw and smoking their fentanyl. You know, I mean, like, and I go to other cities and I don't see that. I
It's
travel a
because
lot. in the
Portland's
summer.
well known for
I
taking
drive
care of
around and almost on a daily basis, I find bodies with legs out in the street.
I know everybody looks
Passed
dead.
out. They
You know, yeah, but it's.
Probably, yeah.
That's every major city.
But there needs to be
across
some
the
sort
US.
of stronger incentive to get the help they need. And we need to have drop-in centers that are readily available, because addicts, right now, in this moment, they're ready to get clean and sober. They want to go to detox.
And
In
it's
10
that
minutes,
short.
in 10 minutes, their addiction has drugged them that way and they're done. They're like, nope. And so we need to have places that are open. I mean, that's the struggle right now. I don't have a place I can take anybody that says, I want to get detoxed, I want to go into rehab. Okay, good luck. There's like that place, maybe if you're there every morning at
Can you
7
wait 30
a.m.
days?
You know, like we don't have that. And I mean, that would be the other thing that we need. But definitely, I mean, and sending a lot of them to jail, I don't know that is necessarily the right thing. It gets them detoxed, in theory maybe.
It
But,
makes
like,
it harder for them
to get it, and it kind
get
of gives them an opportunity to have a clear head, and then actually kind of make those decisions. But until that
But when you're
happens,
altered, you don't make very good decisions.
well, when
That
you're
was
caught up,
why-
that's all you're thinking about, right?
That's all
And
you're
it's like,
thinking about,
yeah.
and Portland is known for now a haven for the homeless because we're picking up after them. We're giving them money to stay on the street. We're making it easy for them to do the drugs because there's no longer any.
We're making their life very easy.
Very easy and ours terrible.
Well, there's no reason, there's no reason to not, right? There's no incentive or push, there's no, it's like your kids, discipline, right?
There has to be consequences.
But aren't there crimes
Yeah,
being
there are.
committed that they should be getting arrested, booked, and convicted for?
They should be, yeah, I mean, yesterday we had a female in a stolen truck, we tried to pull her over, we tried to stop her, she ended up getting her the truck spiked, she crashed, she ran, we got her, once we had her in custody, she's like, yeah, I'm addicted to fentanyl, I steal all the time, I ran because I knew the truck was stolen, and in the back of her truck had hundreds of dollars of stuff that she'd shoplifted from Target. That's a perfect example, is people say that drugs are a victimless crime, kind of like, for a while, but they're not, I mean, because they have to steal and do commit other crimes to be able to afford the drugs. I'll talk to people all day
That's
long.
what they should go to jail
For sure, but then even her yesterday, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she was out of jail last night.
And that's a problem with the court system.
Agreed, and that's off, there's nothing I can do about that. I can try all day and take people to jail all day, but what happens when
That law didn't help us at all.
Less.
I tell you that.
it's crazy right now when they're not, COVID definitely didn't help anything. But
Excuse.
Yeah.
COVID was an excuse.
Yes.
yeah,
I've got, for the last 5 months, I've got a illegal chop shop across the street from my house and in front of my neighbor's front doors. Can anything be done about that? That's my first question. Second question is, we have all tried, including each of my neighbors, I didn't even know this, reaching out to the city on a daily basis. And we're getting no response. So would it help if we gathered like a stern letter to the city with 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 signatures, give it to you guys so you can say, this is what we're talking about. You've got 2,000, 3,000
what gets
people.
their attention, honestly. I don't know what you have to do, because I've talked to thousands of you guys over the last several years who have tried or emailed and everybody says they don't hear back. Every once in a while you hear somebody that, I finally got their attention. I don't know I have no idea what the secret
Set
is.
ourselves on fire.
I'm willing to try anything. If you guys want to try that, I will try to pass it through and get it to the mayor's office. I can't promise that it'll get to where it should go.
Just the people living along the MVP, including to Juanita's house, we're talking about thousands of people that are affected by this. And our government does not listen to us, has no sense of urgency, and we're kind of done. I mean, you talk about vigilantes, I've lived in my place for about 4 or 5 years. There's the kids that are growing up, living in this apartment complex. The other day, this kid, probably 15 years old now, came by from these homeless people because he's tired of being called names, intimidating, bullying, just like we all are. He came by with a 9mm and started shooting. Okay, so you talk about vigilante, this is a 15-year-old kid who's pissed.
Well, you've got a lot of that happening in the neighborhood.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to grow up.
Yeah.
This is a 15-year-old who's got a gun, who's shooting up in the air, walking past the RV and the boat that have been there for 5 months because they keep calling him names, and it's a kid. So we're living in oppression. We're being terrorized, and like I said, we all call and get zero response, and like Juanita, I'm this close. I'm actually done. With the city council changing, we're going to have 12 members now, I'm done.
That almost might be better though, because you're gonna have one, so think about like districting, if it all plays out like my understanding is, you're gonna have one guy that's kind of like a Lents person, right? So you're gonna have one person that you can talk to that is responsible for like an area, a smaller area than having, just
theoretically,
yes.
But
theoretically, your group would vote that person in too.
The problem with where we live, we've got Antifa living where we live. So that's who's going to get voted in. Joanne Harsey, Chloe Daly, and Sarah Iannor will be back in 2 years. This city will be destroyed. Chloe Daly did so much damage to the city, and Hardesty picked up right where she left off. They're going to be voted in 2 years.
This is where you have to be louder. The vocal minority, man, in the city, they win every single time. And this is where, and it still amazes me because I talk to so many people
It's
that
shocking.
are like, I'm shocked. Like, looking at the last even election, the amount, like how close it was, I was like, just based on what I'm talking to people and how frustrated people are.
The way it went.
Yeah, I was honestly like very surprised that that's how it ended up. But,
Shocked.
yep, but.
I mean, they're saying Multnomah County voted 70% for Kotek. Are you kidding me? So you want more of the same. That's what you're voting for, is more of the same.
And that's what's interesting based on how many people are so frustrated with what's going on now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Welcome to
But on your chop shop question,
Yes.
like stuff like that, you get to be specific. So what makes it a chop shop? Are they bring cars in and out, I would guess.
No, they just work on their cars all night. You know, it's pounding on metal, it's cutting metal, it's grinding on metal.
You hear it all in the nighttime.
All night,
like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Last time it was all night, and they've been there for, like I said, 4 or 5 months with an RV, with a boat. They have 3 cars, an RV and a boat. Now this isn't really, the other thing is, I met somebody from Palo Alto that came up from Palo Alto. He was here for 4.5 days. He talked to people that are in the RV. They've been homeless on the streets in Portland for 14.5 years. 14.5 years.
I can't.
So, I mean, is this really homeless? They've got 3 cars, an RV, and a boat. And the person that they're supplying the drugs to just died 3 Mondays ago. In the same 12-hour span, 6 blocks up the MUP, another person died. The fire department came, the ambulance came. They were there for about 6 or 7 minutes, maybe. Picked this person up, brought him to the thing, and left. So I don't know how many people are dying every day on the MUP alone. So I mean, they're talking about compassion, the city of Portland, the elected officials, and saying we don't have compassion. They have no compassion.
Nobody should be living like this.
No.
Well, that's why honestly, when it comes to camp cleanups, people can yell at us and say we're mean and we're doing all this stuff, but I've watched people live in feces, live with needles, live with rats, with moldy garbage, and giving them a fresh start, I honestly have a peace of mind about, because I'd rather have them have a fresh tent and less stuff and be able to kind of, live smaller and not in so much just filth. It's like, it's sad with the injuries that they have and the medical issues.
And the violence.
The violence.
Oh, the violence?
Yeah.
The fires, the out of control behavior, yelling in the middle of the day naked in the neighborhood for 3-4 hours.
I had one of my neighbors, she's elderly, there were 2 cars that were parked in front of her home. You can see it on Clatsop if you ever go that way. The woman actually was walking up and down the street nude. She broke into her home. She got mad because she asked her to leave, and she set the 2 cars on fire. The fire spread quickly. I think the neighbors had to get together and stall on it before the fire department came up. Those cars sat in the middle of that road for 3 weeks before they did anything about removing them. Not to mention the 8-year-old child and the 20-year-old child, or son, that was in the house when it happened. I mean, this is going on in our neighborhood. People coming into our homes, burning.
I just had another one the other day, a lady just on 105th. There was a guy, she walked into her kitchen, there's a guy sitting there eating her kid's Halloween candy with a colostomy bag.
You're kidding.
Nope.
We had a car theft in the parking lot during church 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
And they went to the owner's home.
Oh, wow.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And met my family members.
I just want to thank you guys. You guys are outstanding.
Yeah, there you go. Appreciate that.
Positive, yes.
I mean, you guys are outstanding.
And don't think we don't hear you.
Yeah.
We
Don't
understand.
think we don't care.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You guys are outstanding. I mean, I can give an example of an example. You guys are outstanding.
I just feel bad that you have to in front of us all the time.
When do you arrest people?
Oh, well, I mean, as often as I can.
What's the threshold?
Like, what's the threshold? So, like, we caught the guy yesterday who or a couple days ago that had burglarized the house, he would have gone to jail. Theft twos, we can now take to jail, but for the longest time, we couldn't do theft one or theft two. So you're talking, if you steal anything under $1,000, you get a ticket and a court date in a month.
Why?
Because the jails were full, not of staffing. I mean, jails, there's been days, for the first time in my career, okay, I've been, like I said, I've worked in Portland for almost 19 years. We've had jail bookings shut down. Like, I can't take people to jail because there's nobody to staff the booking. So, like, we sit on them or we cite them. So we're writing tickets to people way more than we ever have. I've had dispatchers, and we have a service net where we like run license plates, run people's names, that we do things besides like the normal calls. That has been shut down because they don't have the staffing to supply it. I mean, I know they don't have the call takers. I mean, calls.
It's not just us struggling.
I mean, like,
No, I know.
and so, but anyways, and so, like, I mean, I'll take somebody to jail. I try not to write tickets. I'd rather drive to jail than write out a ticket. I mean, most of the time, it depends on the situation, and especially if there's somebody that needs to go to jail,
Right.
I prefer to take them to jail. There's some people that, you know, you can talk to and you're like, okay, today you get a citation, but I mean, primarily it's like felonies, misdemeanors we're not taking very often, unless you talk your way into going to jail.
Because most of the unfortunate reality of it is any kind of crime surrounding homelessness, like that you may see the crime and be able to take action. A lot of times it's going to be a very low level misdemeanor. So essentially you're gonna write a citation. So you're not really, that doesn't remove the person from the area or the problem at that very moment. That's the challenge, because you know for the last several years there's always been a big push for not criminalizing homelessness. So that kind of has stretched into some of the low-level what we would call nuisance crimes that kind of surround us, and I think that's the challenge and the balance where politics start to play in. You know, the jail, we have no control, zero control over what they decide who they decide to take and who they don't. And the DA's office, the other piece to this, who they decide to prosecute and who they don't.
Well, and I'm hearing that the jail has been incrementally shut down to about 25% occupancy.
I don't know the actual level.
The fraction's pretty low compared to its potential. So when you talk about staffing, the question is, you know, in my work, I'm having trouble hiring. The other question is, do I have the will to hire? And I would indict the county and say, do you have the will to hire? You know, because this has been going on for years. The jail's been slowly shrinking over the years.
Population's going up.
Yeah, same building, smaller jail population, and yes.
That's a Multnomah County decision.
It is, yeah, it is, but it affects these guys,
Oh, yeah.
which in turn affects us.
Exactly.
The defund movement didn't help, and a lot of people packed up and left.
Yeah.
Like the corrections deputies, the police officers, even the attorneys, the district attorneys. I mean, there have been many good attorneys that are great that have said, can't do it anymore. They're feeling defeated too.
Yeah, they're rural.
You know, I think just getting out there, continuing to be voices, you know.
Because there's good people in all of these entities trying to do the right thing,
Sure.
trying to do what's best.
Yeah.
But
Except for the cows. I mean, let's be honest. They want to push housing first. This is not going to solve anything that we're talking about tonight. Putting these people in housing without solving their problems solves none of the problems.
Well, and that's the hard part. They don't even know how to live in houses anymore. And
That's exactly right.
And that's where the rehabilitation comes in, is because it's like a big thing, but they need to relearn how to live, like how to brush your teeth and how to take showers and honestly clean up your messes. Because you look at, I mean, I tell people all the time, if you just kept your tent nice and neat and clean and just kind of tucked it in a corner, no one's going to bug you. Like, we don't come searching for you. But you bring enough attention to yourself, people call us, and then we're here talking to you. And if you could just keep it nice and neat and clean, and they just can't. And so they have to relearn that. So that has to be part of the rehabilitation purpose. Because you could give them all houses. I mean, you could open a neighborhood and give them all a house, and it would not work.
Well, that's the accountability part.
Right.
They're not gonna have any.
No,
But that's the county's entire agenda. So we've got to attack the county because their agenda and all the money they're spending is being wasted.
It's just
All
cleaning
this
up.
time, we don't have time. I'm 52. We don't have this kind of time.
I wish I was. Oh, Lord. I just keep thinking about those camps and what they're gonna be like without any enforcement.
Well, Sam Adams, my question to Sam Adams, he didn't get to it. I asked him, why are we talking about placing these people in the city and, or, I'm sorry, in neighborhoods or business districts? Why are we not talking about putting them on a farm? Away from the neighborhoods, away from the businesses.
Teach them how to do.
It doesn't
their
make
life
sense
again.
that we're focusing on
Bring back
neighborhoods
the
and
poor
business.
farms.
It would only make sense if there was a 7-Eleven near the farm.
We can build them a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Or build them whatever they need, but they can't be in where people are because their behavior and the disrespect is uncontrollable.
We've approached people like neighbors and said, hey, if you're gonna be part of the neighborhood, just keep, like you said, keep it clean, pick it up, don't block sidewalks. And it's just, they can't do it.
Yeah.
They can't do it. And so if they can't be a good neighbor, then I think it's unfair that they were pushing this onto the community to fix.
Well, that's literally what I tell, that's what I tell the homeless, is you need to be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
And then,
But the city is pushing it on us and to help you enforce what can't be enforced.
but I can tell you that group that runs the 122 in Burnside, they feel so good about just what they've done has helped I can't even imagine the hours they put in. I know several of them have full-time jobs and they still manage to make this has been their passion.
You're talking about Ann McMullen, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she texted me tonight because we were in that thing with Sam.
Ann and Dan, and they have, but it's so, the reward in return for them has been phenomenal. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but they're reaping the rewards. They get to drive to work every day or live in their homes in peace because of the work, and they're all together. So it's not just you fighting for the area in front of your house, it's everybody.
Yeah.
And it's thriving over there. I mean, it's been the most impressive thing I've seen, the amount of impact that they've made. And Ann McMullen is or Ann Naughton is the most passionate person I've ever met. She'll cry talking to you about the tent that was across from her. But she works her tail off and she goes out and talks to people and she has formed relationships with people and she's willing to help people and do what they can, and in turn they're not camping in her area, you know what I mean? And they're not having the shootings. I mean, they're even tracking the shootings, and the shootings have gone down because there's no camps in the area. They don't have as much of the negative traffic. I mean, it's
we are seeing some successes. We're not seeing like 92nd has cleaned up a little bit, and of course now, thank
definitely.
God for that.
Yes.
Because we've picked up so much garbage there and stuff. But
in some of the areas
we are seeing some successes. But some of the pockets that we're seeing, like over at Todd's house and on that massively public property,
Cul-de-sac.
the cul-de-sac, the platform where people have to walk through to use the platform. They can't get to it. I'm 2 blocks from it. There's no way in hell I would use that platform. It's unsafe.
And we spent how much money on the max to transport people, and it's unusable because we have criminals and drug addicts that have made that their home.
Yeah, it is. And they won't leave. They're resistant to leave. They build wood structures and the city lets them keep them there.
Did you ever email all those people? Remember the one
emailed-
TriMet came to our meeting and the other guy?
I have talked to them. I have
Okay.
talked to TriMet, ODOT.
You have?
The three properties that intersect.
Right.
And no one can come up with an answer.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, no one wants to take responsibility.
Okay.
No one even wants to address the fences that the
Get cut.
homeless cut because they can't decide if it's PDOTs or ODOTs or, they can't decide. And they won't decide.
Right, okay. So that guy that came
They
to our
won't take
meeting,
responsibility.
the guy that came to our meeting was no help,
No.
the TriMet security guy.
TriMet security.
They send security out, but the security sits in the car.
Oh,
to
not that
protect
guy
the
that,
driver.
No.
yeah,
That's
no,
There's
yeah,
no one on the platform.
yeah.
What I think is we all need to get a Zoom or something and call the TriMet person. Call not just you, not just me, but all of us, so they understand this is all of us. This isn't just Juanita. It's everybody.
Well,
And you're-
everybody,
you're
all
not-
my neighbors won't use it, so I'm speaking for 25, maybe 30 homes.
Oh, gee.
These are people that are my neighbors that I do, we are together. If somebody comes on our street, we're text. I got a text the other day. A man was trying at 8:30 in the morning to break into our neighbor's car. He texted me, let me know. He got his clothes on, he followed the guy. The guy went from his house, he confronted him, told him to leave the street. I mean, these are people that we have to like continually text one another to keep our properties safe, to keep
That's
one
good to
another
have that
safe.
network. I mean, I have it in my neighbor, you know, in my little
Yeah,
pocket of houses. We all kind of watch out for each other.
He went from our street down to another street, got into another car. He told him to get out of that car. He ran and he went into Home Depot. I mean, that's the haven for the thieves. You know, it's their safe place. So it's not just me, it's like 25, 30 homes that people I talk to and text.
Same with me. We're talking about hundreds of people. And if I walk down the MVP, it would be all of us. And that's what I'm saying. If we can somehow get one voice together, along with Laurelhurst and other areas that are affected, and just say, enough. This has all got to stop now.
Well, we'll talk to the other lady too.
I mean, seriously, the Anns are remarkable, and
Yeah.
I think they're to the point where they're actually starting to get their voice heard because they're such a big group, and you know, they're climbing the chain, and they have the ears of some people.
It's unfortunate, but that's what we have to do.
Yep, but like I said, I feel like they feel very rewarded in it. Like, it's not like they're just working and working and working and not getting anything back. They're getting a lot back too, and the impact they made is just incredible. And people around there are recognizing it, and they just feel good about themselves too.
Well, they have a lot of
It's not what I
businesses.
signed up for,
Yeah.
and so I'm grateful for the people that are willing to, but, yeah.
Yeah, that we need to get the businesses, and I've got those contacts, because that's what Ann did. She got all the businesses in the area to partner with that were tired of being broken into or whatever.
All the businesses, all the residents.
Well, I already know some of the businesses. You were connected with John at Steve's. I don't know how he's doing. I haven't heard from him lately. I know he moved to Happy Valley, though. I know he got out of Portland.
Traders.
I know. We're all traders. Well, thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Keep fighting. We need good people.
Okay.
Don't give up on us.
We won't give up on you guys. Portland's another matter.
Yes. Have a good night, guys.
Take some
All right,
chocolate.
Thank you guys.
Take some chocolate. Stay sweet.
Yeah.
Keep on.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
Craig.
Oh, Lord.
So,
Okay.
What did Sam Adams say in the first half an hour of the?
not a whole lot. I asked David if he learned anything.
No.
He's gonna have them every Thursday.
Oh.
Oh, every Thursday he's gonna have these, so I will send you the link when I get it. Yeah,
What
So-
channel are you?
it's Zoom.
Oh,
It's a
He's
Zoom
doing a
meeting.
Zoom thing about what his encampments are gonna be, his campuses. And they started out 500. Today he was talking about 250 people in each one. They don't know where the land is, they don't have the money for them.
but it's an idea.
It's an idea.
But we did get a size. How many acres did they need?
3 to 5 acres they need for them.
So
For each one.
at Reedway, we have room enough for 3 of the campuses. So there's about 15 acres there.
Well, what they.
Just a thought.
If they're gonna put them, wherever they put them, they need to go to the homeowners. And then they say, here's a reasonable price for your home. If you wanna move, we'll buy your house.
You're being so silly.
Well, the bottom line is.
I know.
You're putting these
I know.
homes in jeopardy of being terrorized and hurt.
Right.
Because these people are dangerous.
Well, the problem is they don't have the manpower either. That's another little issue they've got a problem with, because they don't have the service providers. We still don't have one for Reedway. So they don't have the service providers to even oversee them yet. So it's like, there's so many things, kind of like when they put 110 through. They didn't have the facilities to handle the people who wanted to go through rehab. But
That's
they
why-
passed it anyway. So
That's
it's-
why this is an 18-month plan. for the campuses.
Yeah.
Because they don't
You
have the
ready- you ready
funding
to go,
and
Janie?
facility.
God, I don't
Okay.
know.
Oh, come on,
Okay,
We'll
Jamie,
try not to eat you alive.
We won't buy
the floor is yours.
I brought a PowerPoint, but I don't, no, I'm not gonna do that to
You
you.
can just talk to us.
I will just talk to you.
You can
I wish
talk
I
to
would've
us.
brought more flyers and things, so I will send the PowerPoint out.
Okay, and I'll put it up.
The thing I will likely take off is my photographs when I send out the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Because I do try to inspire hope. I have my before pictures that look like the people that you're talking about.
Okay,
And then I have like recovery as possible.
We all want these people to be uplifted and to get their lives straightened out.
There's a line. I get
Oh,
that.
big time.
I hear that.
Oh, big time.
But there's a line that I don't agree with what's happening. So I'm the executive director of the Mental Health and Addiction Association of Oregon. This year we will have a staff of 150 people in recovery who used to be the people
Good.
that we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's a big part of the population that's not committing crimes anymore,
Yeah.
doing drugs, and living on the streets. I will tell you though, I have a hard time connecting with this way, the face of current homelessness. When I was homeless, chronically, I was a woman alone, diagnosed with schizophrenia, addicted to meth for 22 years. When I wandered the streets, I wandered them because I was afraid, I couldn't fall asleep, didn't want to fall asleep, and I had burned every bridge that I ever had, including, I was crazy Janie, people doing drugs didn't want me around. And so, but when the tent I lived in, and it was weird, like you were a different kind of homeless if you lived in a tent. There were those of us that, and so I lived in the woods. I could not imagine living in town on a sidewalk. That's incomprehensible to me in the way that, how? And I wonder, did it happen when everything shut down? It was like the apocalypse. I drove downtown a couple times and it was
Yeah.
dead except for like the zombies. Zombie apocalypse happened.
uh-huh.
And then once it opened up again, the problem wasn't solved. I mean, this is very different from people who were on opiates did not play with people on meth. We didn't play with each other. They were sleepy, we weren't. Yes, I committed crime. I committed crime for crime's sake, and I committed crime when I thought it would when I needed drugs. I will spend the rest of my life making that up to my community. But I don't know what to do either. I'm so sad for you guys. I live in Beaver Creek. I live out because on purpose.
Yeah, I
My husband
understand.
works in Oregon City, and so he doesn't want to commute. I don't mind driving, but I can't imagine having to. I mean, my neighbor and I, we have like a little commune. We go protect each other's houses, but we just don't have. If somebody's walking through our neighborhood, that's weird because we don't live where you can walk to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my heart really goes out to you, and I think at this point, we do have to criminalize homelessness.
Thank God.
It is not.
Thank God. That's
I mean,
the first time
that's-
I've heard that.
Well, we don't, I don't think we have a choice.
It's not because if they're not, you'd have to stand there and watch to catch them in the act of doing crime. I'm watching all these videos of business owners. I'm watching the news on these where they're showing. There's a whole series of, like you say, Home Depot.
Yeah,
I mean, and you can't stop people unless you have hired separate security, and nobody can staff anybody anymore. And so I couldn't believe, like, people just running around filled with shopping carts, and the news even stopped one lady and said, "You didn't pay for any of that." And she was just like, "You got it for your wife's boyfriend."
yeah.
And so I get it, and I know Measure 110 is an easy finger to point at. 2 grams of drugs is not much. They could get arrested for more than 2 grams. And fentanyl, I'll tell you, when we wrote the measure, that was nothing we knew.
Yeah.
I knew about.
Oh, fentanyl wasn't on the books at the time that they
No,
wrote.
we wrote this thing in 2019.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was about, the part that I was super invested in was funding a system of treatment.
Right.
And
That's why the voters
I thought I
voted
heard
for
on
it,
the
because they
news.
felt they
Yeah.
were
They
getting
can
out.
rescind
Yeah.
that they're
they
looking
can't,
at.
it's gonna have to go back out to you all
Yeah,
and
they're talking
vote.
about doing that. Yeah.
I
You
wanted
should
to
be a
talk-
part of that discussion because of the parts that are not working. And
Well, yeah, so decriminalization, what was brought to us in Oregon from the Drug Policy Alliance, their agenda, I'll just tell it how it came to be. They were looking for states to support their agenda, which I think is decriminalization working towards legalization. Pablo Escobar told his son, the only thing I'm afraid of is legalization.
Huh.
Takes the power out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
but are we ready for that? No. No. But decriminalization, especially in Oregon, was supposed to be a social justice remedy. Because the people that were getting convictions were not middle class white folks, and not even lower class, or whatever the many white folks. It was an overrepresentation and conviction of drug crimes that were barriers to getting student loans and an education and public housing. Those, a drug crime, you could have other felonies on your record. I'm lucky I have 17 felonies and not one of them is a drug crime. So I was able to get, when I got into recovery, I was able to go and, with a GED in jail, go to undergrad and grad school and try to change my life. And so, so that was how it was told to me, was that the small amounts, that addiction would not be criminalized anymore, and that they would have a system in place with funding from marijuana tax money that was well over what anybody ever expected.
It's been absorbed.
Good Lord. And then, yeah, it was like, woo! And so then we had to pull it back out of where it was all trying to fund, and leave that certain original pot for the people. It was state police, education, prevention, things like that. So there is that initial 45% still goes there. But decrim happened, and the stuff downtown was happening after George Floyd and COVID. It was a perfect storm. And homelessness. So I think that's how we got here. That doesn't help with any solutions. What we do at the Mental Health and Addiction Association of Oregon, or MHAAO for short, is we have a lot of programs that hopefully can help. I would like to, we have programs that do outreach, trying to go into the homeless camps and build relationships, connect people to resources. We have one that's part of a larger joint office with homeless services team that goes to the posted camps. But they were right. They go out and they rate them according to all the things they said, and then those are what our teams are sent out to go and prepare those people for getting removed. And there's so many, and there's not enough teams.
So how big a team do you have?
For that one, it's a manager, and right now it's supposed to be 6 other people.
And you actually work in the Portland area?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's 1 right now.
One?
We have 1 staff member and 1 manager.
Oh, okay.
Because we're trying to fill them. I will,
Do you have anybody's ear at the county or the city?
yes.
Oh, good.
Sam Adams used to be on my board till he got his job.
Oh, well, I see.
I mean, I thought he had a pretty good comeback story, and I knew his husband did, so I was like, hey, would Sam be interested in being on board? And like a month later, he got his job at the city. So I was like, yeah, you're busy. Go ahead.
Do you talk to Sam?
I can, yeah.
Does he understand what's happening? with our neighborhood, our businesses that are just being every day and every night terrorized by the behavior and the disrespect? Does he understand it? Because I don't think anybody else understands it.
I think a Zoom meeting is not effective. I think they need to be in person. I think
agree.
they need to see you, be in the same room with you. Zoom is a firewall that needs to
I believe.
I have
Yeah.
a question about, because I know Sam Adams years ago when I was working with the city had a 10-year plan to end homelessness. And that never went anywhere. So my question and my concern really is having someone again have the ear of the mayor that didn't succeed 20 years ago. And now we're at an all-time, the epic of homelessness. And how is he going to change it now? You know, he wasn't successful once. So my question would be, like, what has changed to bend Willer's ear to make it a better solution? I mean, what's changed in 20 years that he's,
I think people are fed up.
I mean, these are questions that not just I asked, but a lot of other people that have known Sam Adams being in that political realm for a long time, who left the city, came back and wants to help repair this homelessness, but he's never been successful at it. So, I mean, that's one of the concerns that Lents has, because we're just overwhelmed with it. And we just don't think he understands or hears or even knows or cares, quite frankly.
Well, he's gonna get a tier 1 retirement pension from PERS.
Well, yeah, he left and he came back just in time to get to it.
So that's what we're gonna be paying. So he came back, so we're gonna be paying for him to.
Get his
Thanks,
life.
Todd.
It's just, it's asinine all the way around. The entire thing is asinine. Because the victims, us, are the bad people. And the people that are doing all the harm to us are now the victims. And that's how they're being treated, as victims. They're not victims. They're victims of their own circumstances. But we're the victims. Our businesses, our homes, etc., our lives, etc.
Our feeling of safety or not.
Our feeling of safety is the biggest, you're right.
I can't go outside my front door and have a conversation with Char and David without somebody coming up to us from those camps and intimidating, bullying, whatever. A conversation that we're having. Standing right next to us. Recording it, videoing us.
Yeah.
This is every day the same people. This is insanity.
Go ahead, what were you going to say?
Well, the question, you have an organization that is focused on trying to alleviate some of this. Where do we plug into that?
Yeah, so, I will send you, I wish I had my flyers, but I'm gonna send
Okay.
Chart, I will send you our website has a referral form. That's not, if you have a loved one or somebody or yourself would like support, then yes, please send a referral form. But what I'm hearing is that there are camps here that aren't big enough to be posted, but that have been.
Right.
We have outreach teams, and so I would, do you all have like a neighborhood map, or is there a place where I can send my
Oh, we
team
can
out and
definitely
at
send you
least
maps.
try to make connections with folks and
Just drive up the hill. That back road, and I don't know how you came up, but that back road was full of RVs last month when we had our meeting.
Scary Road.
It was full
So
all
dark.
the way, yeah, it
Yeah.
was full all the way up, and now
Yeah,
they've
it was a
cleaned all
lot
that.
scarier a month ago.
There's camps down below, right
Yeah.
under I-205, right on the other side of I-205, or along 92nd. All that, and then what Juanita's talking about is that cul-de-sac, and I think they may be too scary to even go there, I don't know.
I did send the film channel 2
Yeah,
just recently down, and they did show that on TV.
Oh, good.
But it's wooden shelters that just they will not leave.
yeah,
They're not going to leave.
And that's, so I know, didn't the city council just vote to,
Yeah, but they have no funding, they have no support from anybody that they need, local county, metro, state, federal. And it's an 18-month plan, kind of like Sam Knapp's 10-year plan. Hopefully in 18 months we'll forget about it and they'll have another, you know.
On 10
That's the
years, we're
game they're
gonna
playing.
spend about $3.5 billion on this. It's probably gonna be more than that. But that's with a B.
I mean, in my opinion, you need 500 people helping this. Rapid response needs 1,000, 2,000. The police need 3, 4, 5,000. Everything is understaffed, and whatever promises they're making to us, they're lies.
And we don't know where the money's going.
Yeah, the private organizations that are offering the services, they don't wanna share how that money is being spent.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you our books.
I'll show you our books too,
Exactly.
and that's what I told everybody, we have open
Yeah.
books, you
Yeah.
wanna see them, we will,
Yeah.
we know where every penny goes. But no, all those nonprofits, one of the people that was running for city council a couple of years back, he said there were only over 300 nonprofits in Portland or the area that were working on the homeless. 300 of them. And I don't know who Joint Office of Homeless Services gives their money to. They won't tell you. They won't tell you where they dispersed even the
Yeah.
money to the nonprofits, which ones get it.
How is that possible? They have no transparency.
I don't know, it's the county, but it's just insane to me that they hand out millions of dollars to these unnamed nonprofits who don't have to account for it. I don't get it.
Yeah,
So do you have you talk about having a referral program. When you go out to these camps, do you do like what a lot of these other agencies do? And what's the patrol? Street patrol.
Oh, no.
No, that's
Street response.
Street
Yeah,
response.
PSR.
When they go out to camps, they actually can give referrals and refer people to an agency. Do you do that? I mean, how do you
Yeah, we'll
get
take
people?
them. We'll bring them in, give them a shower, give them some clothes, take them to an appointment. We're about to open, so we're the organization that got the contract for the Behavioral Health Resource Center down there on Park, 333 Southwest Park.
Is that the
And
Bouchon building? What's 333 Park?
yeah, I
it's
think
the
it is.
Benson's on one side, New Avenues for Youth, if you know of that nonprofit. They have they're a youth homeless organization that has like a day center there. So we'll be running the day center, floors 1 and 2, and it's for folks to come in, connect with people, connect with us, and in the spring, floors 3 and 4 will open with another organization to be named yet to run the 33-bed shelter, which will be a 30-day around. Nobody gets kicked out at 30 days. And then the 4th floor will be bridge housing for
This
19
is the
beds.
Bouchon.
That sounds like.
To do exactly what you all were talking about.
Yeah.
Support people in learning how to live again. I mean, that's the kind of, honestly, the treatment that I had was 6 months long. I had to practice how to live a new way. We don't have any treatment like that out here, none.
Well, Ivy Lakes Hope Center, which we are a referring partner for,
Yes.
if you run into anybody, and if you aren't, sign up with them, they take anybody.
Ooh.
But you can
They
refer.
don't, because if they have any mental health, they don't take them.
Well, they don't take mental health, no, it's basically drug rehab.
And most people with that are homeless also have pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
Big mental health stuff,
Okay.
and so Ivy Lakes is great for who they can serve.
Right.
If they have co-occurring stuff, and not, I think, they're doing a great job with their specific set of folks they can serve.
Right,
But they can't serve, I mean, how could they serve everybody?
right, they can't, no.
And
Yeah,
so
they're
our-
small.
Yeah, we're,
So do you know who sets up down on 92nd and Holgate at the Lents Park? On Mondays, they
PDX
have
Saints.
they have the showers. They
PDX
have,
Saints.
PDX Saints.
PDX Saints.
oh, and
Crystal
the
Delaney.
vaccinations and
Crystal
all kind. They
Delaney,
have take up that whole parking lot, and
Uh-huh.
people are
If you
standing
go-
in line.
If you go by there at 7 a.m.,
Yeah.
there's a long line
Yes.
of homeless people.
Yes,
Yeah.
of housed people, yes.
Housed people, sorry.
Housed people.
Of housed people.
Crystal said she was feeding more housed people than she was unhoused.
At 7, they don't open until 10, 11,
Yeah.
11:30.
Yeah.
They're at 7 a.m. in the morning, a block long of people
Yeah,
waiting, of housed people.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Can
a
I
lot of
ask-
stuff set up there.
What was your incentive to get to go to treatment personally? What happened to you that made you, what was the incentive that influenced you the most to get help?
I wanted help for years. I was in that weird place because it was before Medicaid paid for treatment. And my parents, I mean, they weren't addicts, they were middle class. Dad was a college professor. I wasn't on their insurance anymore. I started having children at 17, and so I was on my own, so I didn't have insurance. Medicaid wouldn't pay for it. So there was this like cycle of, yes, I want help. Help was not to be had. And then there wasn't drug court. There wasn't any mental health court. By the time there was, I had too many felonies to qualify. And so I did eventually, because my addiction was such that I was committing major stealing cars, stealing from stores, all of that. And so I went to prison, and the 6-month treatment that was available to me was only available in prison.
So that's what I think we're saying, to have some sort of incentive. That you have to have an incentive for these people to get off the street. Now, I'm not saying these people as, I mean, for anyone.
No, it's fine. You can.
I had a brother that died in addiction. So it's not like I'm immune to it.
Right.
But what I'm saying is there has to come to a certain point where people need to make a determination, and it's not something, I mean, they have to be made to make that determination, and thank God you did it.
But it wasn't incarceration that did it. I was incarcerated over and over and over and over. That didn't change me. I've
heard that a lot, where jail, prison save people's lives, otherwise they'd be either dead or still on the drugs.
Well,
But that wasn't the change point, because you ask them, how many times did you go to prison and go to jail where it didn't change your life? So there was something else that got them. Was it the treatment they finally had access to, because you could only get it that way? So I get it. Yeah.
But you wanted it, you were here ready to get off the stuff, and that's what it takes, your brain.
What happened and what changed was a woman came into the prison, and it was a church program, and Battlefield in mind. And she was beautiful, this beautiful black lady, and white outfit, just looked very elegant. I don't know, and I was ready for the church program, and then she held up her mugshot, and I about fell out of my chair, because there was always us and them, and us and them. My parents were them. I was an us. Linfield students were them. You know, and so I didn't think crossing over was possible or being different. And so in that moment when she shared her story, I got hope. And you have to have hope before change can happen.
That's good.
So as long as I was hopeless and addicted, you could incarcerate me all you want.
Yeah.
I did a year in prison before I had hope. I didn't know. I'd done 6 months in jail, over. I spent 5 years. I would leave jail in the morning and be arrested again at night. And just ran around. And I was just hopeless, and I would lay there and figure out, well, how am I going to do it better? Because I just wanted to feel better. People downtown, I had an Orkin pest control guy tell me what he's been seeing on video. They're down there nibbling, they're breaking into the rat traps.
Oh.
And they're eating the warfarin, because it's blood thinner.
Yeah.
That's nobody that just, yeah, on the surface, they want to get high. They're desperate for help. what's gonna make it for them, I believe in the farm thing. If you all go out to the Blanchet Farm in Carlton,
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
I've heard about that.
It's, there needs to be places that separates people. I think we need to have, where's this going? I mean, not that I wouldn't say anything in public.
It goes on our website.
But I do, and it's not a popular opinion, and I haven't been, I mean, yeah, I was one of 3 co-chief petitioners for Measure 110, and I have hope. You can't turn a system on its head and build a system overnight. And we just got our funding to expand our services, and a lot of people did. So then you have to staff it, and then you have to, so.
When did you get the funding?
What did I get the
No,
funding?
when? Did you say you just got the funding, or?
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
And a bunch of other people just got some funding?
Yes, yeah, and it's all on the Measure 110, which I put a link to on the OHA website. Shows each county who got the contracts. You talk about the joint office, well, OHA just did it. They just put all the funders and how much and what was funded and when. But we,
So hopefully we might see some help for these people, for the homeless.
yes, and funding just has come in contracts over the last 3 months. And so it's, yes, now,
Now you just have to find the staff.
yeah.
So what I'm hearing you
Nobody
say
wants
is
to
there's a variety of ways to reach people, and that's
Yes.
what I'm trying to say. If they're
Yes.
faith-based, or if they're not, or they have to have we have to have a number of ways to reach people. And
Including jail.
And jail is,
Including
jail
prison,
is
yes.
part of it, and I believe that because it gives people time to dry out at least and get their brain functioning again, and maybe come across somebody that can help them in the mental health. So, you know, your story is impressive, and yet we have to realize that we have to provide a variety to reach people, because they're just not going to come to that on their own.
We have to have a commitment process that maybe is not criminal, but that does.
Is choice A or
people's
choice B?
Civil rights,
Yeah.
to give them the time, in my opinion, not the opinion of MHAU, my opinion, that gives them time.
Well,
and time away.
it should be equal. I mean, we citizens pay property taxes, high property taxes. We pay so much taxes that we should be the ones that are benefiting from this as well. But in this area, we don't see it. We're suffering with it at this point, and yet we're paying the same amount. So we're just struggling for solutions.
I will talk to the teams and have them come out here and just tell the joint office. I went and talked to real people with real faces.
Please.
Yeah, the people that do care. We're not.
I know you care. I
We
see
care
that.
about these people. We think it's wrong for them to be living like this.
I think
There's
that,
also people that are just assholes that are out there that are
Yeah.
just doing whatever it is they want to do. and
Well, that's
terrorizing.
true, but there's a lot of people that are just our brothers and sisters and our mothers and fathers.
Yes.
They're people, you know, we look at them as people. They're our neighbors, and we can't help them. We can't. There's not much we can do. They have to be ready, so we have to find ways to reach them.
Ways to get them ready.
So you were heavily involved in meth, you said, for a long time. And I love that hope is what brought you to the place to get help. My question is, how long, I know each case is different, but how long generally do you think it will take people to a program to get them to a better place? 30 days clearly is not.
No, not even 90 days. You practice one way for so long. I mean, my thinking had to change. And then I had to practice a new way of living. And so what they said in our treatment program was, I mean, it was pretty, I didn't care about my property anymore, and I didn't care about your property anymore. And what I stole, I lost within 5 minutes. I mean, I couldn't even boost it anymore. I didn't have the brain power to figure out, I was just like, whoa. And so if I had my cup and I set it down on the table and I went to the bathroom and I didn't ask anybody or tell anybody, I set my cup here. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, wash my cup, please. And I would get, someone could hold me accountable. And I heard the word accountability in here a lot, and I had to practice giving and receiving accountability. And it took 6 months, every day, 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. And I asked, why isn't that treatment available in the community? It's too expensive.
But that's what it's gonna take.
Too expensive, we're spending billions.
The irony and how expensive was I for the 20
Yeah.
years I spent?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Not raising my kids,
Cycling in and out of it.
Yes.
And through COVID, we heard from the city council that it was compassionate to leave these people on
Yeah.
the street.
That's
Yeah.
wrong.
And it
Yeah.
is not compassionate to not try to create that accountability, whether it's incarceration for a duration long enough so the brain clears enough to be able to get some kind of message in that says there's something else available to you besides what you've been living. And that's the sadness about it, because you're right, it's costing society tons of money, but our leaders are saying it costs too much. And there's a cognitive dissonance in that statement.
My name's Dave Ganslein. I'm Land Use and Transportation Director for Sumner Neighborhood. So I'm over here dropping in on your meeting. Shire invited me. About a year and a half ago, Washington Post sent a writer out here to do a story on homelessness in Portland. The name of the article was The Mansion on Emerson Street. I live on Emerson Street, and it was not about my house, believe me. It was, the focus of the story was an individual named Jeremy Woldridge, who is, I guess you'd say, part of the homeless industrial complex. And Jeremy lived primarily on what used to be 87th Avenue between Emerson and Killingsworth Street. The city took out the pavement and turned it into a green space, but never considered on who was going to maintain it. Well, in one of the sweeps last year, they came in and told Jeremy, you have to move. They gave him food, clothing, tent, camping supplies, water. Jeremy picked up and moved about 100 feet away, set up another camp. That restarted the clock. Then the city came in and cleaned up behind him, I think about 8,000 pounds of trash, including a piano that he left behind. And he knows how to work the system. He goes from one end of my street to the other. I've cleaned up after him on a number of occasions, and I try to do more of the same. We've had RVs burn on my street. One burned up a couple of weeks ago. 87th and Emerson is a popular dumping spot by Helen's View School, where people will come in and dump loads of wet garbage and all that, possibly from cleaning out rentals or evictions or who knows what. But due to the high cost of dumping, they do it there, and so on and so forth. So that's just one of the peripheral ramifications that we deal with in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood association meeting will be next Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Elmer's in Park Rose. If you'd like to come out there and speak or say anything, we will fit you in. Okay, I'll speak with you when you're done with your presentation.
So it sounds like you're dealing with the same stuff that we are.
Well, Sumner's probably the smallest neighborhood in Portland. We're between Prescott and Killingsworth, right around Killingsworth, west of 205 to 82nd.
Oh, yeah,
And with my lofty position in this organization, proving that we all rise to our relative degree of incompetence, we don't have a lot of Starbucks or Planet Fitness coming in over there. Part of my job, or my self-appointed job, is to try to maintain part of the field that used to be the old Sandy Boulevard Drive-In, for anybody that remembers that, before they put Sandy I-205 through there. That's our somewhat neighborhood park. But with the homeless, you know, we've got most of the drug houses out of the area. We got very little support from PBOT. Our newly elected governor was my former House representative. And even though I'm a precinct committee person in the Democratic Democratic Party never established communication with Ms. Kotek. I certainly hope the people of Oregon fare somewhat better. But yeah, it's an interesting plight. I'm from Toledo, Cleveland, Detroit. I've seen the big eastern cities fail. They're 100 years older than Portland, and they wrote them off back in the 80s when the auto industry crashed. I was in Toledo last summer for a Mud Hens game and seeing the family downtown. And Toledo is cleaner than Portland. It was damn near spotless.
Ooh.
You know, and I remember when it was an absolute pit.
So there's hope.
And a couple of years ago, they indicted half the city council in Toledo for influence peddling. And they're still running it better than Portland.
Yep.
You've seen the mansion there, north of Killingsworth, between Killingsworth and Columbia, right by 205, the guy that's got the deck up on the berm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was an old Willamette River sea captain's house or whatever. From what I understand, a friend of mine's parents lived there or whatever. That place was home or abandoned in foreclosure for a long time.
I'm talking about homeless, actual homeless.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got
yeah,
a
sure.
beautiful view.
Yeah, well, my family flew up from Michigan and stayed there at the Holiday Inn because they wanted beautiful views of the sun coming up over Mount Hood in the morning, and they get the homeless camp.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yes.
Well, I've got more to share here in a little bit, but we're just on it's on transportation, not so much, and I don't want to take up too much of your thunder here.
Well, we support you 100%, and your story is inspiring, and I hope that we can save a lot more people.
I hope so. And you all have your, I love the name of it, livability.
Yes.
So can I do want to share, and I debated, but I want to share. So you know the Rosewood Clinic on 89th and
Yes,
Powell?
we do, yes.
Yeah, we're trying to buy it.
Oh, good.
So that we can build housing on there as well as our recovery center, so that we can support people as they work. Because you asked how long, well, it takes about like 6-month treatment, pretty good, but it takes about 5 years to reestablish, to learn, get a job, clean up your body, your wreckage, so that you can move forward in recovery to even get out of like subsidized or recovery housing. And so our workforce, even entering our workforce, our starting wage is like $19 an hour. It's what we get funded, top of the range for that position is $24 an hour. So we want to mix some workforce housing in there too.
Is this the one that's already there, or the one
That's what I
they're
was gonna
building?
ask.
They're building a 31,
Yeah,
30,000 square foot.
is that the one you're talking about, the one they're
No,
building?
we're gonna buy the Rosewood Clinic and remodel it.
That's our
across our goodwill.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and I know that's a high need area, and so we will have a place where we're actively doing outreach in the community, trying to get people to come in and.
Well, I'm glad, because we tried to take we had the guy, I guess he was just their,
PR person.
PR person. He came to our meeting, 3 years ago at least, and he talked up Rosewood so great that if you had anybody, you ran into anybody who needed medical attention right now, bring them in. We had a gal that was close to 9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
We took her in there.
Living in an abandoned garage.
Yeah, living in an abandoned garage. We took her in there. Well, does she have insurance? Does she have an appointment? I said, no. They wouldn't see her. So then they sent us down to some clinic on Division. And they had sent all the doctors home that day because it was a slow day. And it was like, we ended up taking her back to where we found her. And she went back. I mean, so I'm glad somebody's going to do something with that area, because that clinic was worthless. I don't understand what they were doing. So I'm glad.
Probably another nonprofit?
We have hope.
I don't know what Rosewood was. Is it a nonprofit?
It's a
It's
nonprofit.
a medical clinic.
Well, I know it's a medical clinic,
They
but
also run housing.
Okay, well, they weren't any help at all that day,
So
so,
are you guys going, is the building big enough for what your plans are? Are you guys expanding it or?
We are in currently, we just moved to the old Jansen building, so we're on 19
Oh, wow.
and Sandy right now, which is another, the building right across the street. I think people are living here, but it was the children's theater that's abandoned, which is sad because it shut down in COVID, just shut down. I don't know what's in there. I was thinking about getting binoculars. I may not be able to unsee what I see, so. But we don't see people coming in and out, and it's pretty well fenced off, but all the windows are broken and stuff. So, I mean, we've helped anybody, offered help, not that we've helped, but we've offered help, and some people come in and want services, but, the naked lady story, there's a naked lady when it was still warm, but she had nothing. Like,
This lady had nothing.
I mean, nothing, yeah. I had nothing in her hands. Like, when I've always carried stuff in my hands. I don't know, I have a weird thing about that. But she had nothing, and I pulled the car over, parked illegally, and me and my coworker, we hopped out, and tried to give her a code and even just connect with her, lower ourselves and just try to connect with her. And she was so in her experience that all she could do was go like this to us and keep going. You could see phones flying there. People were calling the police, and the police came, and I said, "Are you looking for the naked lady?" They're like, "Yes." She had already gone, but I called my friends in some of these other agencies, and I said, I felt helpless. I do this work on a daily basis, and I didn't know how to help this lady. And she's vulnerable, and she's out there, and it's different than wearing the foil helmet. We can get behind the foil helmet and embrace our eccentric neighbors and friends and people in their experience. This is different. Why can't we do anything? And
That's what we're asking.
yeah.
Well, that's how we feel. We feel
$1,000,000
helpless.
question.
We feel helpless when we see these people and they're having an episode and there's absolutely nothing we can do because nobody will respond.
Yeah, I was told if she walked away, she wasn't committing a crime, and so they can't do
that would be
anything.
like something they could do something about.
You would think.
Not in Oregon.
Yeah, well, nudity isn't illegal.
Yeah.
But but to be in this work every day and not know what to do was like
Well, somebody else came here and had the same.
moment of reality.
Another one of our guest speakers had the same experience. They were in the field a couple meetings ago.
We've
and
had so many guest speakers that were.
But it was the same thing. It was a person that
lost.
and could not get help for people that needed it.
Needed it.
And they're the ones in the business.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, that one we were watching was Crystal Delahaney. I don't know, she wasn't in our meeting, but she was asking, that was that thing you went to, Todd, that town hall.
No.
No,
It was
she
that
was
gal-
asking for help.
No, remember we were in the other hall, other place.
Okay.
There was that gal. You don't remember that gal?
Oh my gosh.
Shorter. Yeah, I know. But same situation where this is their job.
Right.
And she had no one to go to get this person help that they needed immediate help.
And it wasn't Guardian Angels, right?
No.
Okay.
Was it Ground Zero?
Oh, ground score.
Yeah,
Ground score?
I think that's.
Was it Bart?
Yeah.
Was it Bart?
Yeah.
Oh, it was Bart, okay.
Remember? And she
Okay.
couldn't get these people help either.
Right.
That needed it.
Yeah.
And she had no place to go, and she's in the.
Yeah.
I stopped, there was a girl that was in addiction down off of Klotz up in 87, somewhere around there, by the veterans, where we have breakfast.
Oh, by the VFW, the American Legion Hall?
She was in a dog house, a literal igloo dog house. She had her head, I mean, it's hard for me to talk about it. I stopped and I said, honey, you need someplace to go. Can I help you? And she refused. And she slept in that doghouse for about a week. And nobody came to help her.
She was along the MUP, right? Right there by
Yes.
the
Yeah.
American Legion, yeah.
And these are people that are in our neighborhood, these are our neighbors, and so we need you.
My
Desperately.
cards, I didn't have, I left a whole stack of stuff I was supposed to bring. I have a point, if you.
I'll put it, yeah, it'll be up on, I'll share.
Okay, thank you.
And it'll be on our film. Yeah.
And, I'll send you the PowerPoint,
Okay.
and it's got how to refer, it's got
Good.
other, like, community resources, but I know, like, websites are always helpful.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds
Yeah, my
like
cell
you're
phone
good.
number is on there,
Yeah.
and I can, I just appreciate that you all have taken your evening and many evenings together.
We've had a lot of service providers. We're just trying to find answers.
Yeah.
What can we do? Because the county, which is supposed to be providing this service, doesn't have anything. I mean, that's where our money's going and they don't have anything.
Well, I'm hoping that this funding that's just going out is actually gonna take effect, like, soon.
Yeah, I mean, people are obviously, it's getting really obvious that people
Yes.
are tired of
Yes,
this.
people are tired of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did Dave want to talk to, did you have more to say, Dave?
Okay, this is on a slightly different subject, but you may
Okay.
find it interesting. Under my auspices of transportation, I'm a member of ABATE of Oregon. ABATE is a motorcyclist rights organization similar to National Rifle Association for bikes. So I have a real interest in transportation issues. I became aware last year, although many Oregonians still aren't, that the legislature, with the blessings of our outgoing and incoming governor, passed a bill authorizing ODOT to toll all Oregon highways
Yep.
and place a per mile tax on vehicle travel. It's called, we're gathering petition signatures. I have forms here that tell what it is, what it's about, what's coming, a description of the bill, and petition forms. Help yourself. We need to gather 200,000 signatures between now and June 2024 to get this put on the ballot. I believe it was either Dennis Linthicum or Brian Boquist attempted to introduce the bill in the Senate last year to get this put to a vote, and our outgoing Senate President, Senator Courtney, blocked him on it. The state Supreme Court drug its feet for 14 weeks this summer before they would allow a ballot title. So finally they relented in September and we began gathering signatures. The media has been pretty quiet on this because it's perceived as green and therefore it can't be questioned, but we choose to do so anyway. So we need to get this out through anyone. Tell your friends, family, church groups, other civic groups, business community. It's going to drive the price crazy stupid on everything. And the one thing that's a real dichotomy is Jana Jarvis of the Oregon Trucking Association, which you would think would be the chief opponent, supports this because she believes then her trucks will move faster on the roads and get to their destinations quicker. I've participated for the last few years before and after COVID on the 82nd Avenue Redevelopment Committee, 82nd Avenue Steering Committee. And it's going to put a lot of traffic over on 82nd.
Yes.
And now that it's had jurisdictional transition from the state
To the city.
to the city,
Yeah.
they're not planning on that. They're planning on possibly rose lanes, lane restrictions, pedestrian improvements, bicycle paths, which would probably cut the street down to one lane each direction.
Like
Yep.
Foster.
With the 20
Totally
mile an
agrees
hour.
at all of them.
And east-west thoroughfares in East Portland are, there's a few of them. The north-south corridors are slim at best. So if this is done and with the tolls and the cut-through traffic, and again with the so-called green infrastructure improvements on 82nd, it's going to become an undrivable nightmare. But our leaders in the state believe that we really don't need cars. We can do just fine with alternative transportation. You know, we should not drive locally, we should use TriMet and the MAX. Unfortunately, many people do not feel safe on the MAX due to the externalities from some of the situations that Juanita was speaking of.
Right.
And TriMet has been quietly cutting routes because their drivers are quitting because they're tired of being assaulted. But none of this is factored in. I heard last year Portland actually lost 12,000 people due to the ongoing situation with crime and drugs and homelessness. But PBOT and ODOT, they don't reconsider, they don't alter course, they double down. They spend more money, and they think that's the option to get what they perceive as equity, is just keep spending money until there's none left. And once they get their foot in the door on this tolling, we're screwed. You know, there'll be no end to it. You know, as the recent election proves, it seems Oregonians, by the most part, are interested in maintaining the status quo. So if we're having accountability issues with, you know, something like homelessness on a statewide level, you know, the transportation will just be having to just do as we're told. So if you'd like, here's forms. Or you can go to votebeforetolls.org and download any of these documents, get your neighbors to sign them. We've been gathering signatures at a brisk rate, but we have no reason to believe that the state legislature or whoever might employ more chicanery to try to discourage this, because there's billions of dollars in tax revenue here at stake.
Yeah.
I heard they brought in a project manager from back east that's doing the toll on 205.
Yes.
ODOT refuses to disclose the amount of tolling, where the money would be going, anything, just do as you're told, peasant.
Yeah.
And so we estimate, based on similar tolling schemes in other parts of the country, ODOT plans what they have called congestion pricing, which would mean between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. or possibly 2 p.m., 7 p.m., you would pay probably $15 one way from the Glen Jackson Bridge to Oregon City. Now think what that's going to do to businesses and fleet vehicles and the prices that you pay for goods that you purchase in Oregon. Washington knows all about this, and they're raising hell about it because they don't want their people that come to Portland to work to have to pay this. But the media has been silent on this because they didn't want to jeopardize Speaker Kotek's chances of being elected governor. At least that's my opinion, speaking independently.
It's probably true.
So your website explains all this and has all this good information on it?
Yes.
Excellent.
Votebeforetolls.org.
Well, I'll get your thing. Have you been able to talk to any of the media people and or write an article in the Oregonian? I think the citizens need to be educated, and I don't think anybody is, including myself.
Well, my personal opinion is the media, in this case, believes ignorance is bliss. Because they apparently, I won't say they support it, but I'll say if they ignore it, they hope it'll be implemented in 2025. By then it's too late, we can't do anything about it. This all began under Governor Brown's heroic, historic 2017 Transportation Act, where she authorized a study on 205 and 5 in the Portland area. And nobody really cared because they thought it's a Portland problem and everybody hates Portland anyway. So now they didn't get as much pushback as they anticipated. So they, last year in a closed door session with no media coverage, they put it through, I believe it was House Bill 2035, authorizes it to go ahead. And once they get their foot in the door, that's it.
No, it's a done deal.
House Bill what?
I think it was House Bill 2035 last year, I can't swear to it. If you go to the OLIS site and type in tolling, highway tolling, I think it'll take you to that bill.
My girlfriend and her sister both live in Salem. They come up here a lot. they were talking about this exact thing last night, and I didn't have any answers for them. So they're concerned.
Well, yeah,
Just like
everybody
this
should
one,
be.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know it's the
The
same.
Lents has already been divided, you
Yeah,
know, the
by the
205
freeway.
divided it
Right, so yes.
already.
Yes.
But I
Divided it.
tried-
Now they're gonna charge us to drive on the
Yes,
roads.
exactly.
And
Well, in any
I did complain to ODOT about this project.
Oh, yeah, they've
And the
been,
community engagement, I mentioned that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 205 is already divided Lents.
the sycophants and the supporters seem to get quite a bit of say-so. The naysayers were summarily dismissed, because I attended as many meetings as I could, tried to get other people involved, but the general consensus at that time was, well, it can't happen here. You know, that seemed, you know.
Well,
that
back
again-
east, there's all kinds of toll
Oh,
roads.
yes, there are.
So that's just the norm for them. And when I
Yeah.
went back to Maryland a couple of years ago, you could not go very far without having to pay toll after toll
That's
after toll.
Right.
So it's just their way of life. So when the project manager came out here, it's like, you don't have tolls? Well,
Yeah. Hey, let me help you.
Let's help you out on that.
Well, this would be in addition to the gas tax we pay, registration fees, and then per mile tax, and tax to drive on highways.
I'm guessing that you wouldn't have a problem talking to a reporter and getting on TV?
Well, I wouldn't mind, but I can't, you know, there are more articulate spokespeople for this. Dean Sir is who's actually spearheading this drive. His contact information is here, or I can give you his phone number, or,
And he's even more eloquent than you.
but that wouldn't take much. But anyway, yeah, Dean has a very full plate, but I mean, I'd say he may be a more competent spokesperson.
Well, now they're working on Abernathy Bridge.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're claiming that's seismic upgrades.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Earthquake
toll,
proof.
it's a toll booth.
Well, they've been talking
Yeah.
about that for a long time.
No, I'm not kidding you. Drive by and watch it.
Oh, yeah.
They've been, what they've said. I put out on their website, they were out doing outreach, community outreach about it. And I said, this is going to divide neighborhoods. It's gonna cause congestion in neighborhoods, because people are gonna bypass it.
They're gonna go over
We've
the
got an
whole
answer for
Ferguson
that.
Bridge.
They're gonna fine you if you get off the roads. They have patrols that are gonna fine you.
Yeah, you can go across the old Oregon City Bridge and not have to go.
Well, that
across
would be Route
They're
43.
gonna fine you
And
probably.
40
Yeah, probably.
They'd be putting transponders in your car. And I would probably pay as much on my old Harley Davidson as you would pay maybe a Primate bus or a 2-axle truck. Because most tolling schemes charge by the axle, not by the vehicle size. And also, you would have a transponder in your vehicle that tells the state when, where, and how you travel.
Well, I know in other states that have. tolls,
Photograph too.
They will bust you if you try to go around a toll. I don't know what the mechanism they have, but it says on there, fine if you try to go around this toll. I can't remember if it was Louisiana or it was the East Coast, but.
Oh, yeah,
New England or-
if you bypass the toll,
Yeah.
they'll fine.
No, I mean, you go off the exit, you bypass,
Yeah,
you bypass, they
yeah,
have a
they're
way
fine
of,
you.
I don't know how, but.
They said they're gonna have officers that are gonna be, taking care of that. So welcome
Of
to,
course they are.
welcome to more.
We don't have any officers, but we do have for this.
Yes.
This would be a cash cow, you know, I mean, this, yeah. Arresting homeless people or drug criminals or whatever cost money. This would generate revenue.
Oh, yeah.
Well, don't all stampede over here and get one of these.
Oh,
Okay. All right,
and can we print them off the website?
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Does anyone have any announcements, questions before we adjourn?
So the
Then,
breakfast at the VFW, so I met.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.